All right, we're picking up where we left off, which was page 13 on my preview thing. So, just butter. Tell them to charge it.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. At line 60.
Okay. Mother, they make such faces when I do that.
Sticks and stones can break our bones, but the expression on Mr. Garfinkel's face won't harm us. Tell your brother his coffee is getting cold.
Do what I asked you. Will you? Will you, Tom?
He looks sullenly away. Laura, go now or just don't go at all.
Going.
A second later, she cries out. Tom springs up and crosses to door. Amanda rushes anxiously in. Tom opens the door.
Laura?
I'm all right. I slipped, but I'm all right.
If anyone breaks a leg on those fire escape steps, the landlord ought to be sued for every cent he possesses. She shuts door, remembers she isn't speaking, and returns to other room. As Tom enters listlessly for his coffee, she turns her back to him and stands rigidly facing the windows on the gloomy gray vault of the areaway. Its light on her face with its aged but childish features is cruelly sharp, satirical as a Daumier painting. Music under Ave Maria. Tom glances sheepishly but sullenly at her averted figure and slumps at the table. The coffee is scalding hot. He sips it and gasps and spits back in the cup. At his gasp, Amanda catches her breath and half turns, then catches herself and turns back to the window. Tom blows on his coffee, glancing sideways at his mother. She clears her throat. Tom clears his. He starts to rise, sinks back down again, scratches his head, clears his throat again. Amanda coughs. Tom raises his cup in both hands to blow on it, his eyes starting over the rim of it as his mother for several moments. Then he slowly sets the cup down and awkwardly and hesitantly rises from the chair.
Mother, I apologize. Mother.
Amanda draws a quick, shuddering breath. Her face works grotesquely. She breaks into childlike tears.
I'm sorry for what I said, for everything that I said. I didn't mean it.
My devotion has made me a witch, and so I make myself hateful to my children.
No, you don't.
I worry so much. Don't sleep. It makes me nervous.
I understand that.
I've had to put up a solitary battle all these years, but you're my right-hand bower. Don't fall down. Don't fail.
I try, Mother.
Try and you will succeed. Why, you're just full of natural endowments. Both of my children, they're unusual children. Don't you think I know it? I'm so proud, happy, and feel I've so much to be thankful for, but promise me one thing, son.
What, Mother?
Promise, son, you'll never be a drunkard.
I will never be a drunkard, Mother.
That's what frightened me so, that you'd be drinking. Eat a bowl of Purina.
Just coffee, Mother.
Shredded wheat biscuit?
No, Mother, just coffee.
You can't put in a day's work on an empty stomach. You've got 10 minutes. Don't gulp. Drinking too hot liquids makes cancer of the stomach. Put cream in.
No, thank you.
To cool it.
No, thank you. I want it black.
I know, but it's not good for you. We have to do all that we can to build ourselves up in these trying times we live in. All that we have to cling to is each other. That's why it's so important to... Tom, I sent out your sister so I could discuss something with you. If you hadn't spoken, I would have spoken to you.
What is it, Mother, that you want to discuss?
Laura. Tom puts his cup down slowly, legend on screen, Laura, music, The Last Menagerie.
Oh, Laura.
You know how Laura is, so quiet, but still. Water runs deep. She notices things, and I think she broods about them. A few days ago, I came in and she was crying.
What about?
You.
Me?
She has an idea that you're not happy here.
What gave her that idea?
What gives her any idea? However, you do act strangely. I'm not criticizing, understand that. I know your ambitions do not lie in the warehouse, that like everybody in the whole wide world, you've had to make sacrifices. But Tom, life's not easy. It calls for Spartan endurance. There's so many things in my heart that I cannot describe to you. I've never told you, but I loved your father.
I know that, Mother.
And you, when I see you taking after his ways, staying out late, and, well, you had been drinking the night you were in that terrifying condition. Laura says that you hate the apartment and that you go out nights to get away from it. Is that true, Tom?
No, you say there's so much in your heart that you can't describe to me. That's true of me too. There's so much in my heart that I can't describe to you. So let's respect each other's.
But why, Tom, are you always so restless? Where do you go to nights?
I go to the movies.
Why do you go to the movies so much, Tom?
I go to the movies because I like adventure. Adventure is something I don't have much of at work, so I go to the movies.
But Tom, you go to the movies entirely too much.
I like a lot of adventure.
As the familiar inquisition resumes, he becomes hard and impatient again. Amanda slips back into her querulous attitude towards him. Image on screen, sailing vessel with Jolly Roger. Most young men find adventure in their careers.
Then most young men are not employed in a warehouse.
The world is full of young men employed in warehouses and offices and factories.
Do all of them find adventure in their careers?
They do, or they do without it. Not everybody has a craze for adventure.
Man is by instinct a lover, a hunter, a fighter, and none of those instincts are given much play at the warehouse.
Man is by instinct. Don't quote instinct to me. Instinct is something that people have got away from. It belongs to the animals. Christian adults don't want it.
What do Christian adults want then, Mother?
Superior things. Things of the mind and spirit. Only animals have to satisfy instincts. Surely your aims are somewhat higher than theirs, than monkeys, pigs.
I reckon they're not.
You're joking. However, that isn't what I wanted to discuss.
I haven't much time. Oh, sorry.
Pushing his shoulders. Sit down.
You want me to punch in red at the warehouse, Mother?
You have 5 minutes. I want to talk about Laura.
All right. What about Laura?
We have to be making some plans and provisions for her. She's older than you, 2 years, and nothing has happened. She just drifts along doing nothing. It frightens me terribly how she just drifts along.
I guess she's the type that people call homegirls.
There's no such type, and if there is, it's a pity. That is, unless the home is hers with a husband.
What?
I can see the handwriting on the wall as plain as I see the nose in front of my face. It's terrifying. More and more you remind me of your father. He was out all hours without explanation and left. Goodbye. And me with the bag to hold. I saw that letter you got from the Merchant Marine. I know what you're dreaming of. I'm not standing here blindfolded. Very well then. Then do it. But not till there's somebody to take your place.
What do you mean?
I mean that as soon as Laura has got somebody to take care of her, married, a home of her own, independent, why, then you'll be free to go wherever you please, on land, on sea, whichever way the wind blows you. But until that time, you've got to look out for your sister. I don't say me because I'm old and don't matter. I say for your sister because she's young and dependent. I put her in business college, a dismal failure. Frightened her so it made her sick at the stomach. I took her over to the Young People's League at the church. Another fiasco. She spoke to nobody. Nobody spoke to her. Now all she does is fool with those pieces of glass and play those worn-out records. What kind of life is that for a girl to lead?
Well, what can I do about it?
Overcome selfishness. Self is all you ever think of. Tom springs up and crosses to get his coat. It is ugly and bulky. He pulls on a cap with earmuffs. Where is your muffler? Put your wool muffler on. He snatches is angrily from the closet and tosses it around his neck and pulls both ends tight. Tom, I haven't said what I had in mind to ask you.
I'm too late to...
Down at the warehouse, aren't there some nice young men?
No.
There must be some.
Mother.
Find out one that's clean living and doesn't drink and ask him out for your sister.
What?
Her sister, to meet, get acquainted.
Oh my gosh.
Will you? Will you? Will you? Will you, dear?
Yes.
Amanda closes the door hesitantly and with a troubled but faintly hopeful expression. Screen image, Glamour magazine cover. Ella Cartwright? This is Amanda Wingfield. How are you, honey? How is that kidney condition? Horrors! You're a Christian martyr. Yes, honey, that's what you are, a Christian martyr. Well, I just now happened to notice in my little red book that your subscription to the Companion has just run out. I knew that you wouldn't want to miss out on the wonderful serial starting in on the new issue. It's by Bessie Mae Hopper, the first thing she's written since Honeymoon for Three. Wasn't that a strange and interesting story? Well, this one is even lovelier, I believe. It has a sophisticated society background. It's all about that horse he set on Long Island. Fade out, scene 5. Legend on screen, Annunciation, fade with music. It is early dusk of a spring evening. Supper has just been finished in the Wingfield apartment. Amanda and Laura in light-colored dresses are removing dishes from the table in the upstage area, which is shadowy, their movements formalized almost as a dance or ritual. Their moving forms as pale and silent as moths. Tom, in white shirt and trousers, rises from the table and crosses towards the fire escape. Son, will you do me a favor?
What?
Comb your hair. You look so pretty when your hair is combed. Tom slouches on the sofa with evening paper, enormous caption, Franco triumphs. There is only one respect in which I would like you to emulate your father.
What respect is that?
The care he always took of his appearance. He never allowed himself to look untidy. He throws down the paper and crosses to the fire escape. Where are you going?
I'm going out to smoke.
You smoke too much. A pack a day at 15 cents a pack. How much would that amount to in a month? 30 times 15 is how much, Tom? Figure it out and you will be astounded at what you could save. Enough to give you a night school course in accounting at Washington U. Just think what a wonderful thing like that would be for you, son.
I'd rather smoke.
I know. That's the tragedy of it. Alone, she turns to look at her husband's picture. Dance music, all the world is waiting for the sunrise.
Across the alley from us was the Paradise Dance Hall. On evenings in spring, the windows and doors were open and the music came outdoors. Sometimes the lights were turned out except for a large glass sphere that hung from the ceiling. It would turn slowly about and filter the dusk with delicate rainbow colors. Then the orchestra played a waltz or a tango, something that had a slow and sensuous rhythm. Couples would come outside to the relative privacy of the alley. You could see them kissing behind ash pits and telephone poles. This was the compensation for lives that passed like mine without any change or adventure. Adventure and change were imminent in this year. They were waiting around the corner for all these kids, suspended in the mist over Birchtress Garden, caught in the folds of Chamberlain's umbrella. In Spain, there was Guernica, but here there was only hot swing music and liquor, dance halls, bars and movies, and sex that hung in the gloom like a chandelier and flooded the world with brief, deceptive rainbows. All the world was waiting for bombardments.
A fire escapes Landon, a poor excuse for a porch. She spreads a newspaper on a step and sits down gracefully and demurely as if she were setting into a swing on a Mississippi veranda. What are you looking at?
The moon.
Is there a moon this evening?
It's rising over Garfinkel's delicatessen.
So it is. A little silver slipper of a moon. Have you made a wish on it yet?
Uh-huh.
What'd you wish for?
It's a secret.
A secret, huh? Well, I won't tell mine either. I will be just as mysterious as you.
But I can guess what yours is.
Is my head so transparent?
You're not a sphinx.
No, I don't have secrets. I'll tell you what I wish for on the moon. Success and happiness for my precious children. I wish for that whenever there's a moon, and when there isn't a moon, I wish for it too.
I thought perhaps you wished for a gentleman caller.
Why do you say that?
Don't you remember asking me to fetch one?
I remember suggesting that it would be nice for your sister if you brought home some nice young man from the warehouse. I think I've made that suggestion more than once.
Yes, you have made it repeatedly.
Well?
We're gonna have one.
What?
A gentleman caller.
The Annunciation is celebrated with music. Amanda rises. Image on screen, caller with bouquet. You mean you've asked some nice young man to come over?
Yep, I've asked him to dinner.
You really did?
He did.
You did? And did he accept?
He did.
Well. Well, that's lovely.
I thought that you would be pleased.
It's definite then?
Very definite.
Soon?
Very soon.
For heaven's sake, stop putting on and tell me some things, will you?
What things do you want me to tell you?
Naturally, I would like to know when he's coming.
He's coming tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yep, tomorrow.
But Tom,
Yes, mother?
tomorrow gives me no time.
Time for what?
Preparations. Why didn't you ask? Why didn't you phone me at once as soon as you asked him the minute he accepted? Then don't you see I could have been getting ready?
You don't have to make any fuss.
Oh, Tom, of course I have to make a fuss. I want things nice, not sloppy, not thrown together. I'll certainly have to do some fast thinking, won't I?
I don't see why you have to think at all.
You just don't know. We can't have a gentleman collar in a pigsty. All my wedding silver has to be polished. The monogram table linen out to be laundered. The windows have to be washed and fresh curtains put up. And how about clothes? We have to wear something, don't we?
Mother, this boy is no one to make a fuss over.
Do you realize he's the first young man we've introduced to your sister? It's terrible, dreadful, disgraceful that poor little sister has never received a single gentleman caller. Tom, come inside.
What for?
I want to ask you some things.
If you're going to make such a fuss, I'll call it off. I'll tell him not to come.
You certainly won't do anything of this kind. Nothing offends people worse than broken engagements. It simply means I'll have to work like a Turk. We won't be brilliant, but we will pass inspection. Come on inside. Sit down.
Any particular space you would like me to sit?
Thank heavens I've got that new sofa. I'm also making payments on a floor lamp I've sent out. And I'll put this chintz covers on. Hopefully they'll brighten things up. Of course, I'd hope to have these walls repapered. What is this young man's name?
His name is Connor.
Oh, that of course means fish. Tomorrow is Friday. I'll have that salmon loaf with Darky's dressing. What does he do? He works at the warehouse?
Of course, how else would I?
Tom, he doesn't drink?
Why do you ask me that?
Your father did.
Don't get started on that.
He does drink then?
Not that I know of.
Make sure, be certain. The last thing I would want for my daughter is a boy who drinks.
Aren't you being a little bit premature? Mr. O'Connor has not yet appeared on the scene.
But will tomorrow to meet your sister, and what do I know about his character? Nothing. Old maids are better off than wives of drunkards.
Oh my God.
Be still.
Lots of fellows meet girls whom they don't marry.
Oh, talk sensibly, Tom, and don't be sarcastic. She's gotten a hairbrush.
What are you doing?
I'm brushing that cowlick down. What is this young man's position at the warehouse? Submitting grimly to the brush and the interrogation.
This young man's position is that of a shipping clerk, mother.
Sounds to me like a fairly responsible job. The sort of job you would be in if you just had more get-up. What is his salary? Have you any idea?
I would judge it had to be approximately $85 a month.
Well, not princely, but...
Plenty more than I make.
Yes, how well I know. But for a family man, $85 a month is not much more than you can just get by on.
Yes, but Mr. O'Connor is not a family man.
He might be, mightn't he? Sometime in the future?
I see. Plans and provisions.
You are the only young man that I know of who ignores the fact that the future becomes the present the past, and the past turns into everlasting regret if you don't plan for it.
I will think that over and see what I can make of it.
Don't be supercilious with your mother. Tell me some more about this. What do you call him?
James D. O'Connor. The D is for Delaney.
Irish on both sides. Gracious. And doesn't drink?
Well, shall I call him up and ask him right this minute?
The only way to find out about those things is to make discreet inquiries at the proper moment. When I was a girl in Blue Mountain, it was suspected that a young man drank. The girl whose attentions he had been receiving, if any girl was, would sometimes speak to the minister of his church, or rather, her father would if her father was living, and sort of feel him out on the young man's character. That is the way such things are discreetly handled to keep a young woman from making a tragic mistake.
Then how did you happen to make a tragic mistake?
The innocent look of your father's had everyone fooled. He smiled. The world was enchanted. No girl can do worse than put herself at the mercy of a handsome appearance. I hope that Mr. O'Connor is not too good looking.
No, he's not too good looking. He's covered with freckles and hasn't too much of a nose.
He's not right down homely, though.
Not right down homely, just medium homely, I'd say.
Characters, what to look for in a man.
That's what I've always said, mother.
You never said anything of the kind, and I suspect you would never give it a thought.
Don't be so suspicious of me.
At least I hope he's the type that's up and coming.
I think he really goes in for self-improvement.
And what reason have you to think so?
He goes to night school.
Splendid. What does he do? I mean, study.
Radio engineering and public speaking.
Then he has visions of being advanced in the world. Any young man who studies public speaking is aiming to have an executive job someday. And radio engineering. Think for the future. Both of these facts are very illuminating. Those are the sort of things that a mother should know concerning any young man who comes into calling her daughter seriously or not.
One little warning, he doesn't know about Laura. I didn't let on that we had dark, ulterior motives. I just said, why don't you come and have dinner with us? He said, okay, and that was the whole conversation.
I bet it was. You're eloquent as an oyster. However, he'll know about Laura when he gets here. When he sees how lovely and sweet and pretty she is, he'll thank his lucky stars he was asked to dinner.
Mother, you mustn't expect too much of Laura.
What do you mean?
Laura seems all those things to you and me because she's ours and we love her. We don't even notice she's crippled anymore.
Don't say crippled. You know I never allow that word to be used.
For face facts, Mother, she is, and that's not all.
What do you mean, not all?
Laura is very different from other girls.
I think the difference is all to her advantage.
Not quite all in the eyes of others. Strangers. She's terribly shy and lives in a world of her own, and those things make her seem a little peculiar to people outside the house.
Don't say peculiar.
Face the facts, she is.
The dance hall music changes to a tango that has a minor and somewhat ominous tone. In what way is she peculiar, may I ask?
She lives in a world of her own, a world of little glass ornaments, Mother.
Gets up. Amanda remains holding brush, looking at him troubled.
She plays old phonograph records, and that's about all.
He glances at himself in the mirror and crosses the door. Where are you going?
I'm going to the movies.
Not to the movies. Every night to the movies. I don't believe you always go to the movies. He is gone. Amanda looks worriedly after him for a moment. Then vitality and optimism return, and she turns from the door. Laura!
Yes, Mother?
Let those dishes go and come in front. Laura appears with a dish towel gaily. Laura, come here and make a wish on the moon.
Moon? Moon?
A little silver sliver of a moon. Look over with your left shoulder, Laura, and make a wish. Laura looks faintly puzzled as if called out of sleep. Amanda seizes her shoulders and turns her at an angle by the door. Now, darling, wish!
What shall I wish for, Mother?
Happiness. Good fortune. The violin rises and stage dims out. Curtain. End of Act 1, I think.
Nice.
Because curtains mean the end. Thank you so much to Meg and Alvaro for being so wonderful. Maybe we'll come back with an Act 2.
Ooh.
We'll just have to stay tuned to find out. Have a
But
good
everybody's
one.
playing different roles.
Yeah,
Laura.
I'm down.
I'm Tom.
And I'm
I was the
still
only one
Amanda.
not doing an accent.
Okay, bye.